Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Star vs. Force of Evil, Samurai Jack, and Adventure Time, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hello.
And Andy Potter.
Hey.
Today, Sam, Andy, and I will be discussing the final two parts of Adventure Time Elements, the miniseries that is premiering this week. We're discussing 7 and 8, Hero Heart and Skyhooks 2. Why was this called Skyhooks 2?
The Skyhooks made a reappearance.
It was just one Skyhook.
Skyhook.
There's not, yeah, okay. Skyhook 1 would have been, okay. So we've been discussing, Adventure Time all week here and last week on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Spoilers for all of Elements. We're getting into all of the exciting conclusions at the end of Skyhooks 2. So definitely make sure you check it out first. So let's get into it. A lot to get to. Sam, what are your reactions to these last two episodes?
Well, I thought the last episode felt a little bit rushed. You know, like rushed in terms of like the plot development, like what happened, how it all ended. I don't know. I definitely went in a direction I wasn't expecting. And I don't really think that was a good direction. You know, kind of like it felt less grandiose than I feel like it should have been.
Yeah, definitely some quick resolutions to some big building things. Yeah. Big things that had been building. Andy, what were your reactions to the end of part 8?
Pretty similar. It felt a little weird. It just kind of just ended out of nowhere. That's the problem with Adventure Time most of the time, because they're always building to something and they're never actually reach anything. And that's what it felt like here. We were building to something and it's just like, oh, everything's fine now.
Yeah, for the most part, this was a lot of build up, and then we're just reverting back to where we were, with one big exception, I would say, which is the big blue Jake. So we'll see how long that lasts, but we definitely need to talk about that. I think these were both really good episodes. I enjoyed where we went with Betty. I just didn't necessarily enjoy shelving her like we did here. Yeah, it was a big build up. It was like, okay, what's Betty gonna do? Okay, she's gonna try to go back in time. That makes sense. Like we talked about that last podcast. She's probably gonna use the jewels to try to do something with Simon. That's Betty's MO, and she does that. And then, Ice King just kicks something, and then she's on Mars. So it was I don't know how I felt about that. I mean, I enjoyed like it climaxing and going somewhere, but it did feel a little bit unsatisfying. Do you agree, Sam?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought, they were in the intro and it's going to be like, we're going to go through like all this mythos and we're going to go through like this like thing that's going to be like a good like, push forward for their arc. But I feel like we're maybe like 2 or 3 steps away from where we began.
Yeah, it did at least we're not back to just Betty hanging out on her. Like, Betty is somewhere else and we need to address that now. So that's good, I guess.
She's on Mars!
But there's plenty of stuff that they need to address in Adventure Time and they never do. So I don't know if that means anything, actually.
Yeah, it's true. What did you think of how they resolved Betty, Andy?
I was really disappointed because I really loved Betty through all of this. Up until the moment she went to Mars and that was it. Like, she was just crazy and, like, literally insane at a lot of points, and it was really funny and good. And was it a different voice actor? Did we confirm that?
Yeah, yes, it's Felicia Day. Yeah, we discussed.
She did a really good job, though.
Yeah.
She really did.
Yeah.
I really liked her, but I was really disappointed with just her being shelved as well.
Yeah, and Patient.
She'll come back for the grand finale, I'm sure.
I think that Betty is part of the end game of Adventure Time, whatever that is. I'm skeptical of this show, like, going in a super plotty
She's
direction.
going to kill everybody.
No, I mean, I think
Yep.
Evil Betty was dispelled. We talked about, is this Evil Betty? Is this, good Betty? I think this was more,
just Simon hungry Betty.
Simon hungry. I think this was more towards good Betty than not. Would her going back in time have like changed the current? Okay, we don't need to get into Adventure Time physics, but yeah, it's
Yes.
I don't. It you know.
Time travel changes everything. The butterfly effect, chaos theory.
But it could have created an alternate. She could have gone to an alternate thing, you know. But I think that her actions here were more on the benign side of what we expected. I guess it was just very much, you know, the typical, you know, tries to get Simon back from the Ice King. But yeah, this whole Ice King part is like one of the most plotty things the show does, and it directly relates to the origins of Ooh, and like. If the show does anything, culmination like type, with the Adventure Time plot, I think Betty will be a part of it. Like, why would we transport her to Mars unless we're doing something with that, you know? So I think we'll have a Betty on Mars episode in like 20 episodes or something, because it's Adventure Time and that's what we do.
Betty on Mars.
Yeah, that should be the name of the episode. Yeah, Betty on Mars. The other big plot element of Elements, Patience, was similarly shelved, although this one we kind of saw coming more. We talked about it last podcast how Patience would probably not be the main plot of these last two episodes. She just refreezes herself. I wasn't expecting this to conclude the Patience arc on the show, which is what this seems to have done. Do you think that's true, Andy?
I wasn't expecting her to just freeze herself and go away. It was really disappointing. At the very least, I expected something from her, and she wasn't even a big part of this miniseries even earlier in it. She was just there for one episode, really, and had a cameo in another, and that's really it. It was really weird.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting how they used Patience here, that she was kind of the instigator of the problem, but not like a part of the plot resolution down the road. I wasn't expecting big things. I'm a little disappointed that we potentially shelved her for the rest of the series. That's kind of what I'm more concerned with.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I really like Patience, and I don't think, I guess if this is it, I'm not 100% satisfied with this as a conclusion to Elemental. Then again, it got its own miniseries, but I would have liked more. What do you think?
You know,
Sam?
she got what she wanted, and just, it wasn't it. It wasn't what she actually wanted, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So she refroze herself right before PB's song came. I wonder what that would have done. That would have been interesting. But yeah, a lot of singing these two episodes.
So fun fact, I looked it up. The first song, to Let Me Call You Sweetheart, John, it's a Bing Crosby song.
Okay.
From the 30s.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have expected it to be, yeah.
I think the second song was an original, since I couldn't find it anywhere.
I would assume she called it the Bon Bon Ballad. Yeah, I assume that's original. But yeah, this was I thought that was like a pre-copyright song, or yeah. So
let's see if it's still in copyright.
Is it still?
Apparently it was first published in 1910.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume it's not in copyright anymore.
Yeah, I think we're past 100 years on that, which would expire it. Is that how that works? Okay.
I thought it was like 70 something.
Okay. But yeah, Andy, what do you think of all these singing in these two episodes?
I really loved the Let Me Call You Sweetheart song. They used it to really creepy effect. I was surprised because I've never really felt creeped out by this show ever, but all the candy people coming up on Finn and just singing this song was one of the better moments of this entire miniseries, I think. It evoked a lot. And then the Bon Bon Ballad, I was okay with it. I really liked the stage whisper to Marceline as she was like, the Bon Bon Ballad. And it was, that was really cute. And
be gay.
It was very gay.
You know what? Before the miniseries started, I was like, there's got to be some gay happening, and there's a little bit. I take what I can get.
She caught her when PB fell after they all.
Yeah,
that was.
But they weren't standing next to each other at the end when everybody's all crowded around.
Oh, okay. You're disappointed in that? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
I think I cared the least about the actual Elements stuff in these two episodes.
Me too.
I think all of the other auxiliary stuff, like the next thing I want to talk about is the LSP stuff, but all of the other auxiliary stuff I think I cared more about, and these last two episodes kind of focused on the Element stuff. So in that regard, it didn't super work for me, but I did like the singing. I like that they committed to the premise of the miniseries, and that was kind of the climax, was everything involving the elemental conversion stuff. But yeah, we can. Yeah, Sam.
I don't know. I was just saying, of course, Princess Bubblegum is the antagonist, the antagonistic force. in all of this.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. You know me. I love her, and I want her to have like her like, everybody like all the episodes nowadays. If they feature Bonnie, it's just Bonnie, you are a control freak, and you do this, that, and the other, and you need to calm down. And like she's trying to be a better person, guys. Like
yeah.
Give her like day.
Yeah.
But we didn't even get a new bubblegum outfit, which is what I always am excited for. I really wanted it.
Like her, default design. They recycled Marcy's design from what was missing.
Leave PB alone, says Sam. Yeah.
I'm not going to do the Chris Crocker voice.
You won't? Okay. Let's talk about Lumpy Space Princess, the hero of the.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Good workshop that, and it's we learn. I think we have one of our most mythologically defining sequences in Adventure Time about lumps. It was pretty interesting. We see a flashback to LSP's parents talking about how lumps are the force that orders reality into its true shape. They're more powerful than any one element, and they bind the elements together.
So LSP is the Avatar.
I don't know.
Not really, but like
kind of. She does like revert all of the elements. Yeah. Finn calls her the anti-elemental. So I think lumps are kind of like the dark matter, or I don't know. But in this, what was your reaction to seeing a scientific explanation of lumps, Sam?
Okay, so I was thinking about this after I watched the episode. I was like, how lumps and like our like world, like the connotation is like cancer, like tumor. And I don't know, I was thinking about Adventure Time, how they're trying to like claim the term back. Lumps are good. They save the world.
We're reclaiming the lump slur as a positive term.
Okay. It's just like when you hear the word lumps, you're like tumor. Like that's like the description. But no, it was like definitely not where I thought they were gonna go with that. I didn't expect Lumpy Space Princess to be a main player in this miniseries.
Where's our pro and anti lump reclamation discourse on Tumblr? Anyway,
where is she on the why wasn't Lumpy Space Princess in the intro? Maybe that would have been.
Yeah, she could have been in the intro as much as.
She could have sung it. She could have been like.
Oh God!
Yeah, Andy, what do you think of LSP here?
I loved her. I mean, I loved her for the entire miniseries. I was just not expecting it. There is a problem with choosing LSP to be your focus, because she's kind of a one-note character, no matter what you do with her. But I mean, I loved her humor, and she was really funny. And it was if you're gonna have a Deus Ex Machina, I mean, at least it's LSP, and she's really funny doing it.
Yeah. It is a little bit of a Deus Ex. I think they at least tried to expand the mythology of the show. Like for Adventure Time, this was like the most explanation we're ever going to get for anything. So I appreciated that. I wonder why we needed this. Like, is this going to be a part of you'd expected it to go somewhere. Like, LSP turns everything back, and then she becomes like, she does something else. She turns into something else, or like lumps have some higher significance.
She's the Avatar.
But she did change Sweet Pea. He got his horn back, which is probably going to be an important thing later too in the whatever the end game for this show is too.
Yeah, I did notice that Sweet Pea got his horn back. So, and I definitely think the Lich is going to factor into the things down the road.
Oh, Sweet Pea.
Oh, yeah.
My son.
Just get ready. Start preparing for Rip Sweet Pea, Sam. Come on, start preparing.
Sweet Pea is the best.
But yeah, at least in this miniseries, like this didn't really have too many ramifications other than just everything's back to normal,
except for normal being like the original forms.
Yeah, I expected some ramification of this. We still might get it. But it was like an advancement, and then just back to square one. So I don't know. At least we got some mythology advancement, but
it just felt like it wrapped up way too quickly.
Yeah, things are gonna wrap up fast here. I don't know. For me, it's not like necessarily the speed of it. It's more just the abruptness of the arcs. Betty, just on Mars, no explanation. LSP, everything's back, and then we're dropping that plot. And the one thing that like has a consequence is Jake, who didn't really factor into this series that much at all. So I think that was an interesting choice. That must be like definitely didn't thematically tie into the rest of the miniseries. So I think that's clearly a plot choice for where they're going with the show. And let's talk about Jake. So,
okay.
Jake, he is 5 eyes, big, blue. I definitely had to look this up. I did not remember, but Jake's in, Joshua and Margaret Investigations, which was in 2014. So 3 years ago. We see that Jake's dad or whatever, I don't remember, Joshua was bitten by this shapeshifter from another dimension or planet or something, and it looks like what Jake looks like now. Andy, did you remember this immediately? And
no,
yeah,
no way. There's just way too much in Adventure. I had no idea what was going on with that.
Me, this whole miniseries is like, well, who's that person from? Like, what? And this was another instance. What's your reaction to it, Andy?
To Jake, the Jake thing?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a summary of how I feel about this entire miniseries in that, because I mean, Jake, during the slime episode, Jake just was like, oh, it's going to be fine. Everything turns out fine. And it's like, that's how I feel with this. They're going to fix it somehow. That's what they always do. So I'm not really that concerned about it. But I mean, it definitely was funny with Slime Princess going like, did you get a haircut, Jake? And I thought that landed for me. But I'm not really concerned about it. I think it's going to be fine, just like everything else was in this miniseries.
So you think Jake's going to go back to normal at some point?
I think he will go back to normal either in the next episode or the episode after that. Like, that's how quickly it's going to be.
That'd be disappointing, I think. Like, this is the one consequence from this. I don't know. What do you think of Big Blue Jake, Sam?
My kind of man.
Okay.
JK. I mean, from a technical standpoint, wouldn't it be like really annoying to just like switch up Jake's design like that? But then again, they switch up Finn's design like every so often with his arms.
Yeah.
So shrug.
So the reason the reason they're doing this has to be because they want to approach this arc finally. They had this episode forever ago where we see the shapeshifter influence, and it's time to actually get into what Jake is and why he can shapeshift. That's the only reason to turn him into this. You can't just do this and then just ignore it. They end the miniseries. He still looks like that. Now we're gonna go on. Who knows how long it'll be? Maybe it is only one episode, but at least we're gonna have one episode, potentially more of Jake being this shapeshifter, and one of like the foremost, one of like the core elements of the show. So it does make sense that we'd finally address this, I guess, because we've only gotten one episode before, and it didn't really answer anything. Well, I mean, I guess it answers like why he is that way, but now we maybe like we'll deal with the ramifications of that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not the biggest Jake fan, but I do like that. I always love addressing like things like Jake shapeshifting. I think that could be good. What do you comment? I don't know. Comments isn't his design.
I feel like it feels familiar. I don't know what I remember it from, but it looks really familiar. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he looks just like the shapeshifter from that.
Oh,
episode.
That's probably it then. I just haven't looked at it yet. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot.
I mean, I had to go to the Wikia, the Adventure Time Wikia, to see, but
that's the only place that's the only place you need to be on the whole entire internet.
The Adventure Time Wikia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place I've been frequently Googling these random side characters from these episodes. Yeah.
I mean,
I go on the wiki sometimes.
That was the strength of this series, though. I mean, you brought back all these small characters now, little fun moments. I mean, Stakes and Islands were really personal, and this one had a lot of really fun characters to just jump to all the time. It just felt different than the other ones. I think that was good.
Yeah, I think Elements is more of a celebration of the Adventure Time mythos than you're right. The other two are focused, character centric, and Elements is and Adventure Time. I think like the most notable thing about Adventure Time. There's a ton going on with the show, but I think the number one legacy element of Adventure Time is its giant world and mythology. I think that's what the show is going to be known for. I think that's what the show is known for. And so, bringing back a ton of minor side characters is the way to go, I guess, when the show's ending. You got to take all your mythology elements, put them into play. Speaking of that, another mythology element, we have a 5-second scene of Cosmic Owl observing what's happening.
And Prismo.
Was Prismo there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
They were in Prismo's room. They were in the hot tub. How do you not remember this?
did it from before or from the episode?
Like that's the thing. Like they all chill in like Prismo's hot tub and stuff.
I mean, I do remember Prismo. I very much enjoy the Prismo episodes. But yeah, that did not pay off. We just saw that one shot. Yeah. What did you think of that, Andy?
I was really excited at first because I thought we were actually going somewhere with the Betty stuff, and then it just didn't happen. It was just like a giant red herring, and I think there was no reason to show them being shocked because Prismo was shocked as well by it all. And I was just, it just felt really bad. I wanted to see where that was gonna go if Ice King didn't interrupt. That's all I really want.
Sam, what did you think of it? So this is also going somewhere, right? Like, I guess it could not. Like, you could just show your gods watching something big happening. But this is though you're reintroducing these two characters, and maybe they think they need to intervene in something that's happening. But clearly, like, if you're ending Adventure Time in a big way, which is not a given, you could end Adventure Time in a small way. But if you're going to go big with the mythology, you're going to...
Oh, they're not going to end it in a small way.
I mean, the show doesn't really do that many I mean, I guess their finales, they go big, but then things kind of revert.
I'm actually leaning towards them being small as well. Based on how all these miniseries have been ending, it feels like they're just leading back to the status quo every single time. And I think that's what they might be doing. Just some normal adventure at the end.
Yeah, I think ultimately they could have something like that, like a throwback, just a small Finn and Jake arc. But I think the reason that you show Cosmic Owl and Prismo here is because you want to include them in something down the road. And we're not at the end game yet. We aren't even on the last season, although the last season will probably be abbreviated. So I am excited to get them back into the mix. It was unsatisfying seeing them just for a split second because those are, I think, Prismo specifically, one of the more exciting characters for me in the show, and then Cosmic Owl also pretty cool. So, and you can't just show like the most powerful beings and then not do anything with it. Like it was interesting. That's kind of the summary of this whole ending. I think to Elements is why didn't they do more with this? I think that applies in kind of all these areas. Even the Jake area, which is gonna pay off. That's the one that didn't revert to status quo. It's like, why show that just at the end? Why not do more with it? Like, I'm excited, like, for the next Adventure Time episode after this, because there's a lot to deal with. But why not do more in Elements itself? Do you think that makes the whole miniseries unsatisfying overall, Andy, or do you think it still stood on its own?
I've had a little bit more time to process this than you. Like, I watched this 4 days before the podcast, and when I first finished it, I felt very unsatisfied with it because of the last 2 episodes. And I've had the chance to rewatch the whole thing and kind of digest it a little more. And I'm okay with it now. I think the series... The problem is the first 6 episodes really do well standing alone. They're really fun and they're really good. And some of them, I think, at least a couple are I think great. But the last 2, it's just... they feel so disconnected from the first 6 in terms of theme and focus. And it's just, they do so much better when they're focusing on emotion and when they're focusing on comedy than they are when they're focusing on this like pseudo drama of the elements. Okay. And it's just really, I don't think it's the suddenness of the ending. I think it's just that the element thing was just not that strong to begin with. That wasn't really what made this series fun. And so I think that's the problem. It just wasn't a good hook. They didn't put enough into the hook. If Patience had more time, or Bubblegum had more time, or Betty had more focus, I think all these would have been not as unsatisfying at the end. But all of it together just leads to this really weird place where I'm not sure what I just watched in the last episode. I think that's really where I stand right now. That said, I really do like the series. It's just weird.
What's your take on that, Sam?
God, what was the question?
How
kind of like went all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, how Elements like feels overall, like having with this ending. Like, is it a lot of unsatisfying elements in the last episode? But what about the miniseries altogether?
I don't know why this had to be a miniseries. It definitely doesn't fall in line with the other 2 miniseries, which, you kind of want like a good like thematic tying into like your trilogy. And, those are like all the first two islands and stakes. There's like character things. And they also build a mythology as well. But as we talked about earlier, Elements doesn't really build up too much like character, like too much like at least singular character, like a lot. I definitely could have seen this being like a final season arc. It could have been like an epic, thing happening. It could have been like something akin to like when King of Ooh like usurped Bubblegum. Like, that was an arc that happened within the show and didn't happen like on like a side miniseries as much. It definitely happened like stakes like culminated in that, as well as like the whole like Susan Strong stuff. And I don't know. I don't know why it had to be a miniseries. I feel like there could have been something else better dedicated to like 8 specific, one after the other episodes to it.
Yeah. I think that I think that the Element stuff doesn't. It was never super exciting. I think it was more just a vehicle for doing kind of interesting things. And I guess that was the tie-in, was they're all like turned into these Elements things.
Oh, everybody is candy.
Yeah, so that ends up being like what ties this all together. And it wasn't like a particularly interesting tie-in. Like you had islands, it's like more humans, like that's so exciting. And Finn's backstory, that's super exciting. And you had stakes, and it's a bunch of stuff about like how the world was before, and Mercy's backstory, like super exciting. Whereas Elements is just like, oh, everyone's like candy and fire and slime and ice now. So I didn't. It's clearly not as strong of a premise as the rest. It really ends up just being a collection of some random plots. You had the Betty plot, the everyone's an element plot. The patience, I guess, ties into that too. You do something with Jake. The Finn kind of has an arc here. So it feels like more of just a amalgamation, whatever that word is, of things than kind of any sort of cohesive unit, which I think is also true to a certain extent of the other miniseries. Like all of them had random episodes that didn't super matter. But Elements doesn't really have that hook to it. There's no real big takeaway, I think, from it. That being said, there's some strong things to this series, some strong components to the Elements. I think episode 2 really shines for me looking back. We saw 1 and 2, and it's like, wow, 2's great, 1's also really good. Very excited for the rest of this, and then I think 2 ends up being the best episode, so that's disappointing. But it still was a fun ride overall, I guess. Quality wise overall, Sam, what do you think?
It definitely wasn't a waste of time. I don't know, I had like a lot of enjoyment watching it, and there are good parts, so it was good. It wasn't as good as it could have been, and I don't think it was as good as the other miniseries.
Okay.
But it was alright. It was definitely one of the better Adventure Time experiences I've had.
Yeah. Andy, quality overall of Elements.
I really liked it. I think it's my least favorite of the miniseries, but I still liked it. I also think that, strangely enough, these will be more enjoyable when you're just watching them one-off, like just randomly on TV. A lot of these are just kind of fun little plots that are kind of like cloudy and bespoken for, and even the ones in Slime Central and Winter Light are really focused on just one place, and they have a lot of good humor in them. And I think that they'll. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Quick ranking of the miniseries. I'll take Islands 1, Stakes 2, Elements 3. Same.
I agree.
Andy?
Same.
Okay. Yeah. The
As much as I want to put Stakes at number 1, I think Islands was a lot better.
Islands was better. Yeah. That being said, I don't think Elements is like that far down. I think it was still of high quality. Anyone want to take a quick ranking of the episodes? Let me try to do it quickly. Okay. Part 2, number 1. So 2, then 1, then 3, then 8, then 7, then 6, then 5, then 4. Bam. Official power rankings. Andy, can you do it in 5 seconds?
Definitely 2 and 1, like you said. Then I would have 4, I like Cloudy a lot. I think unlike a lot of other people. Then I got 8, then 7, and then 5 and 6.
Sam. No, don't attempt it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
What's your number one episode?
I like 3 a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad we have a Cloudy defender here. Finally, that's good, Andy. That was an interesting, notable, definitely the weirdest episode of the 8 here.
I don't disagree. It was definitely really weird.
Yeah. So other random, to wrap up other random things, because there's a ton of stuff in these episodes.
Okay, so
yes.
Here's something that happens in the last episode.
Okay.
LSP is wearing the ice crown, and she doesn't go like insane wearing it. What's up with that?
Well, she's the anti-elemental.
No, but like everybody who wears the ice crown goes insane, even if they just wear it for a second.
They're not made of lumps. They're not made of lumps. Didn't you hear their parents' explanation, or were you also too busy looking at Michael and then thinking of Michael?
Michael.
I think that was the name of the
boyfriend.
Yeah,
LSP's boyfriend.
No.
Yeah, and then LSP and cut to LSP in present. Michael. Yeah, it was good.
Oh my god, why would I look at Michael?
I don't know. Maybe Michael's just so lumpy.
Like,
Jeez.
Even if like it is like a lump thing, like
you question the logic of that. Okay.
Yeah, you know how I am.
But the crown did break after she wore it. Like the gem popped off. I think it proves that she's stronger than whatever magic is in the crown.
Maybe.
Her construction, her atomic construction negates the magic or something like that.
Her sassiness and like willful ignorance.
Yeah, the thing pops off and then Ice King puts it back on. I wonder if that matters, but that they clearly showed that happening. Yeah. Other than everything we've talked about, my most notable thing is the Finn Happy Place sequence, where we got a quick glimpse of young Princess Bubblegum. Remember when that was an arc on the show, like 10 years ago? Remember when that happened?
She's adorable.
Yeah, it's really interesting that was kind of like the Finn psyche sequence here.
Remember when like people shipped that? Like, wow.
That was like the original ship, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then
that was like the whole beginning of the series was Finn, liking her. So,
but then it stopped.
But then it stopped. Apparently, or did it? Or is this Finn's happy place flashing back to young PB? Is that saying Finn was like happiest when he had feelings for Bubblegum? Does Finn still have feelings for Bubblegum? Are we going to pull How I Met Your Mother at the end of Adventure Time and go back to the original ship with the Ted and Robin?
We are not.
And Finn equals Ted. Robin equals Princess Bubblegum. Bam. Done.
No.
Andy, I hope not.
Thoughts.
There was a shot right after LSP was like started doing the lump thing where you saw all of Finn's kind of ex-girlfriends. You saw Bubblegum, the forest girl, I forget her name, and Flame Princess all next to each other. And I don't like the implication of that because I feel that the romance stuff with Finn has kind of run its course, and I really hope they don't just force him in with Bubblegum or anybody else, really.
Did you think of that when that sequence happened though? That like, did you have any like, oh, why does Finn still have feelings? Did that cross your mind?
Yes, it did, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that it crossed my mind. I don't, because at the beginning of Islands, a big part of it was that he told Fern that you should push down those feelings of whatever romantic feelings he had for Bubblegum because that's how he likes Bubblegum now. And I feel like this is a regression if he goes back to liking Bubblegum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like this is such a siren call for the creators of these super long running shows is to go back to what you do is you have this original romance, then you say, okay, we're over that. And it's like healthier for the main character. And then at the end, it's like, how am I going to end this crazy long series? I'm going to go back to what happened at the beginning. Like it's the original thing. It's the original ship. And,
that's dumb.
And then you explore that. And that's exactly what happened in How I Met Your Mother. And like everyone hated it. And like that might be what we're doing here. I would hope that instead of like putting them together, it's more like Finn thought he was over this. He's not, and he has to deal with it. And it's something he just has to overcome again.
All right. Time out.
Okay.
So, you're forgetting. So that sequence, like the whole like, Finn crushing on Bubblegum, whatever, that was done like in fire, right?
Yeah.
Like that was all on fire. But then we snap back to that one. I don't remember which episode it was from. It was from like when they were hanging out with like the cat, where it's just like Finn and Bubblegum, and they're just talking like, "Hey, like being friends with you is cool. Like I'm happy with that." and that was like, in real, like, no, quote unquote real, like, they're like designs, not like all fired up. You know what I mean?
So you think this is more of like a retrospective on Finn's mental state throughout the series?
Especially considering it was like just a chunk of Princess bubblegum he was chewing. So
yeah,
that sounded bad, but
I think that was probably the intent. What you're saying, yeah, I don't think it was meant to be like, oh, Finn still has feelings. Like it made me think that. I don't think that was like the overall intent of the scene. I think it's more just like there's a quick past exploration of Finn and bubblegum.
Also, bubblegum and Marcy are together, so it's not gonna.
Well, I'm not saying it all happened, but it's more like
it's not going to happen.
Are we going to explore it in Finn's feelings?
No.
Type of thing. I do think this is something that we're going to address. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's going to be a big whole How I Met Your Mother type arc like that. So, but I think it probably will come up again. Maybe this is it coming up again. Maybe this is, as like we've been calling this, the Adventure Farewell Tour, with all these elements being brought back up of the series. Maybe this is the oh yeah, I remember that time Finn had feelings for bubblegum. Maybe this is it. So I guess that's another option.
Remember when that was like a thing for like the first 4 seasons?
Yeah, I don't remember those seasons though, so that was too long ago.
Wow.
I do remember that like the season 2 finale, I don't know, or something, whatever season was.
Mortal Recoil. Yeah, it was season 2, season 3.
Bubblegum turning 12, and it's like, why? what are we doing with this? Yeah. Anyway, the other random elements, last podcast forgot to mention Lady Flamicorn when we're talking about the farewell tour. Yeah, Lady Flamicorn.
Yeah, but now she's like a, what do you call it?
She was a literal rainbow.
Yeah, there's like a certain type of candy that's
Oh, it is? I don't eat candy.
I think I do.
What?
Okay. I eat like an 8-year-old whose like parents are like away.
Okay. Change topic. Yeah. So what? She turned into her candy form. Yeah. Okay. We did a lot of mentions of nerd. They're saying nerd a lot, and that's episode 7. That was a thing.
Yeah. Down with nerds.
One of my favorite sequences was Marshmalline, quote unquote, fighting Dragon Flame Princess.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Are we wrestling? Says Marshmalline. I really love that. Yeah.
I love her.
And then she's like tickling, who's better, Marceline or Marshmalline, Sam?
Okay, so I like Marshmalline because like I like marshmallows and like, I just like it. Okay. I like the niceness, but like Marceline is like, I feel her in my soul, Like I am her.
TM. Yeah.
Marshmalline is like who I wish I could.
I think Marshmalline is the highlight of all the alternate people. I think she'd be my number 1 on the alternate element people power rankings. I think Flame Princess Dragon's also very high. I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's her inner soul, is her being a dragon. Yeah, it's great.
And fighting nerds.
Yeah.
All right, she would fight you then. Okay.
Yeah, she would fight me. Aw, yeah. But what else we got here? We got LSP says your face tastes like my happy place.
Isn't kind of gay.
Who is she saying that to? Marceline? Marshmalline? Yeah. Were you shipping the LSP and Marshmalline, Sam? No? Okay. Why?
Because Marceline is in love with Bubblegum.
So. Is Marshmalline in love with Tower Bubblegum, though?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, she totally was.
Okay. She did hover around
why
her all
else
the time.
would they just? Why else would like she be like her keeper? You're like personal.
Where are the fanfics, Sam? Where's the fanfic?
I don't know. It hasn't aired yet, Dylan. It's only on iTunes.
Don't spoil that we're pre-recording this. Andy already spoiled that.
Oh my god, it's legal.
Sorry.
Spoiler at all these were pre-recorded. Yeah. Betty Trade says Finn about Betty like booping him off the magic carpet. Also, it's a magic carpet, and then Ice King says like it's Shahrazad. There's a magic card that's called Shahrazad. I don't know if that's.
I thought the exact same thing. I thought the exact same thing. I looked it up. That's the name of the woman who told all the tales in 1001 Arabian Nights. That's who she is.
That's what that was a reference to, not the magic card. There's also like a show that was called that. I was like, what is this a reference? But okay,
there's no fanfics about this, by the way.
There's no fanfics about this. The other magic references, I think I accidentally called LSP LSV, so that was the other magic one or something. We talked about the singing, the Bon Bon Ballad. We talked about the lumps. Talked about Betty. LSP drawing the street S. That's what I called it in elementary school. I think this thing has multiple names, but it's that like
it's
S.
The thing where you draw like 6 lines and you make an S out of it.
It has a lot of names. We called it the street S. I liked that. We're only like 20 years late with that reference to the street S, but that was great.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Apparently, I saw a Tumblr post. The kids still draw the street S's in school.
Who cares? And Tumblr is filled with a lot of manufactured nostalgia, acting as if children are not their own people, acting as if we are the only people on Earth. Guess what? Humans are humans.
Wait,
we all do the same stuff.
This baited you into going on a Tumblr rant, not my like pro and anti whatever reclamation rhetoric like that. That didn't get this. It was the nostalgia takeover. Okay,
Tumblr has like a culture of like elitism and like elitism ageism, and I hate that.
Someone quote Sam and make this a Tumblr post, and then make it.
Yeah, just like just like send me Tumblr hate.
Yeah, send to at coolmcr on Tumblr. Nope, that's not true. But
actually, I do have that URL though.
Oh, you do? That's good. I'm glad you have.
Of course I do.
I think that's it. I think that's yeah. I thought Betty was dead at first, but no, she's with normal man on Mars. I need to refresh myself on all the Mars plot stuff. That was another thing. Yeah. Any predictions on where any of this is going quickly to close things out, Andy?
I think we're going to get something with Betty. I hope we're getting something with Betty. I hope that's where we're leading, that she's going to do something, but I think that she's going to have a more minor role in the future is what's actually going to happen. Actually, I think we're finally going to get some Finn progression, because I feel like we have never gotten any real character progression for him at all. It just keeps regressing and going forward, back and forth, back and forth. And I hope this Jake stuff really does give us some backstory for both of them that we really need.
I think this whole show is like Finn, maybe not progression. Maybe you're right that he reverts and then, but this whole show is like the Finn character arc. We've been on the Finn character arc tour. So I think that's interesting though, how Jake changing's gonna affect Finn. That's an interesting angle, to how that would affect that. Any predictions, Sam?
We're all gonna die. Betty is gonna kill us, so.
You, or the show, or you?
Both.
Okay, so Betty's gonna come to life.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a really weird, like 4D like experience. The Adventure Time finale. I mean, Betty's like gonna come to life. She's gonna come out of the TV screen, and she's just gonna vaporize all of us. Yeah. So that's the way to end Adventure Time. Really,
that's the way to end it. I'm predicting some. I've called this before. Some Lich arc coming up, and I think it's gonna also involve Prismo and Cosmic Owl. So I think we're Betty on Mars. I think that potentially can all come together. So
I realized what I remembered. I think that I was really upset that the lump stuff didn't change Sweet Pea back to the Lich, because I feel like that should have happened.
Yeah, that was an opportunity to get us right into that Lich arc. Yeah.
Nope.
I like regrew the horn. It's like, what does that mean? Like, why just do that? It was such an obvious thing to do. I agree. Like, let's. But I guess it's too early to get.
I don't remember exactly what happened when Sweet Pea happened. So
he touched like
something happened.
Sam, you're talking about how everyone's going to die. Sweet Pea is like the number one most likely character to die. In that, it's going to turn back into the Lich. Like that is
Sweet Pea is my son.
That is the number one.
I will gladly let him kill me.
Oh, so you'll turn into the Lich instead? Is that what you're volunteering?
Yes.
Okay, Sam Lich confirmed. We're going to have an article going up by Alex, so check that out on overlyanimated.com's blog section on speculation on plot after the Elements series. Like, are things being changed now? Like, that's the question. Like, are we going to have significant changes? But we don't really, I don't think we know what the next episode is. Look, we have Abstract, Whispers, and another Fiona and Cake episode listed, but those might not be the next ones. And who knows when Cartoon Network will air Adventure Time again. So.
Yeah, we could be still watching Adventure Time in like 2020 by the airing schedule.
You say that, but that's not that much of an exaggeration. Like, it could be, it could go, I think we're a favorite to go into 2018. And, if we go into
obviously we'll go on.
Then who knows if it's 2019, so, we're still in season 8, not even at the last season yet. So we'll see what's to come on Adventure Time. Let us know in the comments anything, your thoughts on any elements, what you think predictions are. Check out overlyanimated.com for all of this, and consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Steve, aka Freaking Commenter Steve. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, and Alex. Final thoughts on Elements, Andy?
It was really weird, and it was a lot funnier than the other miniseries, and I enjoyed that a lot, especially the LSP jokes that they had.
Yeah, that's true. It was very funny. Sam, final thoughts.
If I could be turned into any element, I would probably be turned into candy, but realistically, I'd probably be ice because I'm sad.
Because you're frozen soul and in your depths.
But, I like candy a lot, so.
I think when we all want to be candy, they're very happy.
It was a lot of Stepford Wives smiling, like, it was...
Yeah, it was more creepy.
It was weird.
Yeah, creepy than happy, I guess. So, that's it. Okay, mute. That's it. Thanks. Thanks for listening, guys. And we upcoming podcasts, a bunch of stuff. Check out overlylemonade.com, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye.